Have you ever found yourself questioning the motives of those who enter your life during your most vulnerable moments, only to vanish when things improve? It's a heart-wrenching truth that as we navigate the complexities of aging, feelings of loneliness can lead us into the hands of manipulators and emotional abusers. But take heart, this doesn't have to be your story. In today's compelling video, we'll unveil 7 essential insights that everyone in their later years should know if you're seeking to safeguard your emotional well-being, reclaim control over your life, and embrace your golden years with dignity and joy. You're in the right place. We'll explore the vital lesson of discerning who truly deserves your trust, the power of breaking free from the invisible chains that bind you to people-pleasing, and the importance of letting go of toxic relationships, even when they involve family. Have you ever felt like your kindness is met with indifference, or that your sacrifices go unnoticed? We'll tackle these pressing issues head-on, empowering you to distance yourself from negativity and reclaim your energy. Stay with us until the end as we share transformative wisdom that will inspire you to set healthy boundaries and live life on your own terms. Don't miss our final piece of advice, a bold revelation that challenges a common behavior, yet holds the key to enhancing your well-being. Join us for this enlightening experience that could change the course of your life. The first tough piece we love to share is that trust must be earned, not given freely. This might sound harsh, but it's a vital lesson, particularly as we navigate the complexities of our later years. As we age, many of us find ourselves yearning for meaningful connections, which can make us more susceptible to those who may not have our best interests at heart. The reality is that loneliness can be an unwelcome companion, often drawn us into relationships that aren't truly supportive. Think about how easily we might welcome someone into our lives, only to realize later that they are more interested in what they can take from us than what they can offer. The truth is, some individuals will only stick around when they see an advantage or a need to fulfill, and that's a hard pill to swallow. It's crucial to recognize patterns in our relationships. We may notice certain individuals who appear during our challenging times, offering their presence, but vanish when our circumstances improve. This isn't merely a coincidence. It's a behavior that speaks volumes about their intentions in moments of vulnerability. We can sometimes overlook red flags, attributing their actions to concern or compassion. However, we must ask ourselves, are they genuinely there for us, or are they simply drawn to our struggles? Recognizing this distinction and empowers us to protect our emotional landscape and fosters a more discerning approach to relationships. The quest for companionship can often cloud our judgment, leading us to overlook the motives of others. It's only natural to want to trust those around us, especially when we're feeling isolated or vulnerable. Yet as we journey through life, it's essential to develop a critical eye. Our emotional well-being hinges on our ability to assess whether someone is genuinely supportive or simply opportunistic. We don't have to live in a state of constant distrust, but we must embrace the wisdom of discernment. This approach allows us to engage with others while maintaining our emotional health, ensuring that our connections are both meaningful and mutually beneficial. Setting boundaries is an essential part of preserving our dignity and peace of mind as we navigate our relationships. It's crucial to recognize that not everyone deserves access to our hearts. We should not hesitate to say no when we sense that someone is not acting in our best interest. This act of asserting ourselves can be incredibly empowering and liberating. By establishing boundaries, we communicate our self-worth and the value we place on our emotional health. This doesn't mean we cut people off at the first sign of trouble. Rather, it means we're committed to nurturing relationships that uplift us rather than drain our energy. It's important to remember that our past experiences serve as our best teachers. Each interaction shapes our understanding of trust, guiding us to make more informed choices in the future. We must take time to reflect on these lessons, recognizing the patterns and behaviors that have impacted us. This self-awareness equips us with the tools to identify trustworthy individuals and those who may not have our best interests at heart. Embracing this journey of introspection can lead to profound personal growth, enhancing our ability to connect authentically with others. We can also benefit from surrounding ourselves with people who foster positivity and support. Building a circle of trusted friends and family can create a protective buffer against those who may seek to exploit our vulnerabilities. This nurturing environment not only enhances our emotional well-being, but also reinforces the idea that we are worthy of love and respect. Respect, remember, it's not about the quantity of relationships, but the quality. Investing in deep, meaningful connections will yield far more happiness than a broad network of superficial ties. Let us also extend compassion to ourselves. It's easy to fall into self-blame for trusting the wrong people, but we must understand that vulnerability is part of being human. Every experience, whether positive or negative, contributes to our growth and understanding. We deserve forgiveness and kindness, particularly when we've been hurt. By practicing self-compassion, we empower ourselves to rise from difficult experiences, armed with newfound wisdom and resilience. We should encourage open conversations about trust and vulnerability with those we hold dear. Sharing our thoughts and feelings can foster deeper connections and create an atmosphere where everyone feels safe to express their concerns. This dialogue can be instrumental in breaking down barriers and building stronger bonds. We can collectively navigate the complexities of trust, learning from one another and reinforcing the importance of genuine connections by sharing our experiences. We can empower each other to be more discerning and to cultivate relationships that truly enrich our lives. In the next part, the second sign of transformation we must embrace is this: stop living your life to satisfy others, particularly your family. This can be one of the hardest things to face, especially if you've spent years, perhaps most of your life, dedicating yourself to your children, your spouse, or your grandchildren. When we've made nurturing and giving our entire identity, the idea of shifting away from that feels almost impossible. Yet there comes a time when we have to ask ourselves, are we living for others or are we living for ourselves? If we're honest, many of us realize we've been prioritizing others for so long that we've forgotten what it even feels like to live for our own joy. Let's face it, familial expectations can be heavy. We want to be the dependable parent or grandparent, always there, always selfless. But what happens when those around us, even the ones we love most, begin to take that selflessness for granted? Sometimes, no matter how much we do, there's this unspoken expectation that we can always give more, that we're always available. It's an invisible weight we carry. But here's the truth: we can't carry everyone forever. At some point, we have to acknowledge that we've earned the right to say enough. Now it's time for me. Take the example of a woman named Maria, a devoted mother and grandmother for over 40 years. Maria put her entire being into raising her children, managing the household, and then in her later years looking after her grandchildren. She never complained, never asked for time to herself. But after so many years of giving, she began to feel a deep sense of emptiness. Her children, who once relied on her for everything, still expected her to be there for every little thing, even when they were more than capable of managing on their own. Maria realized that while she had been there for everyone else, no one had really asked her what she wanted, what made her happy. She felt invisible, defined only by her ability to serve. This isn't an isolated story. Many of us, like Maria, find ourselves in a position where our worth seems tied to how much we can do for others. But here's a critical point. This isn't love. Love doesn't ask us to sacrifice our entire being. Love shouldn't leave us feeling drained and invisible. Real love is about respect and understanding, and part of that respect is allowing us the freedom to live for ourselves, not just for others. This doesn't mean we stop caring about our family. Of course we love them, but caring for others doesn't mean we must neglect ourselves. It's about balance. It's about learning to prioritize our own needs alongside the needs of others. We've spent decades giving, and it's time to allow ourselves the freedom to focus on our own happiness. If our family truly loves us, they will support this change, and if they resist, we must remember that their discomfort is a reflection of their expectations, not our worth, and about the pressure we often feel to live up to others' expectations. Sometimes we don't even realize how much we've internalized these expectations until we start to push back against them. The guilt can be overwhelming. We might feel like we're being selfish, like we're betraying the very people we've spent our lives nurturing. But let's pause for a moment and ask ourselves, is it really selfish to take care of ourselves after years of sacrifice? It's not just, okay, it's necessary. We can't pour from an empty cup. If we continue giving without repulping ourselves, we'll burn out both physically and emotionally. This brings us to the difficult truth that not everyone will understand our need for change. Some family members might resist. They might push back or even try to guilt us into continuing the same patterns of overgiving. But we have to stand firm in our conviction that it's time to focus on ourselves. We are not abandoning them. We are simply choosing to live in a way that honors both our needs and theirs. It's a shift in priorities, not a rejection of love or duty. Breaking free from this pattern of overgiving is an act of self-respect. We've spent so long putting others first that we may have forgotten how to listen to our own needs, how to ask ourselves, what do I want? It's time to rediscover that voice. This doesn't mean we suddenly stop caring about the people we love. It means we create space for ourselves within those real relationships. We draw boundaries that protect our well-being, so we can give from a place of abundance, not exhaustion. Let's return to Maria for a moment after years of putting herself last. She finally decided to make a change. She started saying no to things that drained her. She began carving out time for activities that brought her joy. Gardening, traveling with friends, reading books she'd long put aside. At first her family didn't understand. They were so used to her always being available that they took her new boundaries personally, but over time they adjusted, and Maria, she rediscovered a sense of peace she hadn't felt in years. She became more fulfilled, and as a result, the love and care she gave her family came from a much deeper, healthier place. The lesson here is clear. We deserve to live for our elf without guilt. We've earned it. We've spent so much of our lives focused on others, and now it's time to prioritize our own happiness. This isn't selfish. It's necessary for our mental and emotional health. It's about reclaiming our lives and living in a way that brings us peace and joy. Learn to set boundaries with love. It can be hard, especially when those boundaries are new and unfamiliar, but boundaries are essential for maintaining our well-being. They allow us to protect our energy and create space for the things that make us happy. When we live without boundaries, we give others permission to dictate our time and energy, but when we establish boundaries, we take control of our lives again, and that's a powerful, liberating feeling. The third one that you may hear about, and probably the hardest to accept, is the idea of distancing yourself from toxic people, even when those people are family. We've all been taught that family is the foundation, the heart of our lives, and we've heard the mantra that family is everything. But what does everything mean? If it comes at the expense of our own well-being, we might have tolerated manipulation, disrespect, or even emotional abuse because we were told that family comes first. But does that still hold true when the family dynamic chips away at ourselves, self-esteem, our peace, and our mental health? Sometimes the bravest and most loving thing we can do for ourselves is to walk away. We need to ask ourselves, what would life feel like if we prioritized our own peace? Imagine setting boundaries, not because we're being selfish, but because we are worthy of a life free from constant emotional turmoil. These boundaries are not walls, they are protective measures, reminders that we have the right to preserve our energy. It's about acknowledging that we matter just as much as anyone else, and that we deserve relationships that nourish us, not deplete us. Stepping away from toxic people doesn't mean we're abandoning them. Sometimes creating distance is an act of love. Love for ourselves and, ironically, for the other person too. By not participating in the cycle of toxicity, we allow the possibility for healthier dynamics to emerge. We give them a chance to reflect in us, the space to heal. It's not about cutting ties, but about restoring balance and protecting our emotional health. Another critical lesson, and one that might hit closer to home, is that we need to stop expecting others to recognize our sacrifices. Think about all the times we've gone out of our way for others, hoping, maybe even just quietly wishing, that they'd notice. We might have made personal sacrifices, time, energy, even opportunities, thinking that one day someone will appreciate the depth of our efforts. But the truth is, more often than not, that acknowledgement never comes. When we attach our sense of worth to whether others recognize what we've done for them, we place our happiness in their hands. We become relying on their validation, and when that validation doesn't come, we feel empty, even resentful. It's a cycle that only leads to disappointment, because people, no matter how well-meaning, may never fully grasp the extent of what we've given up or done for them. So what can we do? The key is realizing that our value isn't tied to someone else's recognition. When we understand that, we take back our power. We stop waiting for a thank you that may never come, and we learn to validate ourselves. We reflect on the choices we've made and feel proud of them, not because someone else has acknowledged them, but because we know deep down that they were the right choices for us. This doesn't mean we stop being generous or giving of ourselves. It means we give without expectation. We stop measuring our worth based on how much we've sacrificed for others, and instead we start valuing ourselves for who we are, not what we've done for someone else. It's a shift in mindset that can bring tremendous freedom, because it removes the burden of needing others to complete us. We can also start to focus more on what truly brings us joy. Life becomes lighter when we stop waiting for external recognition and start looking inward for fulfillment. What makes us feel alive? What are the moments that bring us peace and joy without strings attached? By pursuing those, we move closer to living authentically, and that's a lesson worth embracing. Prioritizing our happiness isn't selfish. It's necessary. If we don't prioritize our own well-being, who will? If we spend our lives only in service of others, without tending to our own needs, we burn out. We cannot pour from an empty cup. And when we choose to care for ourselves, we ultimately become better, more present, and more authentic in the relationships that truly matter. Then release the need for validation. Let's stop expecting others to recognize every sacrifice we've made. Instead, let's honor ourselves by valuing our own efforts and choosing to invest in the things that make us happy. The fourth tough piece we must embrace is this. It's crucial to recognize that the value of our sacrifices doesn't diminish simply because they go unnoticed. The worth of our actions is not contingent upon someone else's acknowledgement. Generosity, kindness, and love are inherent aspects of who we are, and that alone gives them meaning as we journey through life. Especially as we grow older, we often find ourselves yearning for appreciation for our efforts. whether it's the time spent raising children or the kindness extended to friends and family. Yet we must realize that true peace comes from letting go of our reliance on external validation. It's time to stop waiting for others to acknowledge our contributions, especially now where our time is far too precious to waste on expectations that may never be fulfilled throughout our lives. We often conflate external praise with internal fulfillment. We might find ourselves thinking, if only they realized how much I've done for them, they would surely express their gratitude. However, the reality is that not everyone will recognize our efforts, and some may never do so. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. The essence of our lives should not be dictated by others, recognition or approval. When we come to terms with this fact, we unlock a deeper, more personal form of happiness, one that is rooted in self-acceptance and personal appreciation, rather than the fleeting acknowledgement of others. Consider the example of a mother in her 70s who devoted her life to raising her children. She sacrificed her own career, her dreams, and many of her passions to ensure her family well-being. She did this selflessly, driven by love, without seeking anything in return. However, as the years rolled on, she found that her children rarely acknowledged her sacrifices. They were caught up in their own busy lives, and although they loved her, expressions of gratitude were few and far between. She began to feel invisible, questioning whether her years of dedication had been in vain. This is precisely the moment when we must remind ourselves that the worth of her actions, the worth of any of our actions, doesn't hinge on acknowledgement from others. The sacrifices she made were meaningful because they stem from a place of unconditional love, the key to achieving happiness, particularly in this later stage of life, lies in the decision to release the expectation of receiving gratitude. Once we liberate ourselves from this desire for validation, we open the door to a more offensive way of living. We start to recognize that our worth, our significance, is inherently tied to our own self-perception. When we engage in acts of kindness, we must learn to take pride in the act itself. This shift in perspective can be profound. As we make this transition, we begin to feel lighter, unburdened by the weight of unmet expectations. We live not for the approval of others, but for the quiet satisfaction that comes from knowing we have acted from a heart. There is something incredibly empowering about this realization. The power to feel valued has always existed within us, waiting for us to claim it. Accepting that recognition may never come doesn't lessen the impact of our efforts. It does not imply that what we've done lacks significance. Instead, it means we are consciously choosing to free ourselves from the invisible chains of others' expectations. This liberation allows us to live more authentically, pursuing the lives we truly want, unencumbered by the need for external validation. We have spent a lifetime giving to others, and now it is our time to focus on ourselves. It is essential to recognize the importance of our own happiness and well-being. We should feel proud of everything we've accomplished, of all the sacrifices we've made, and the love we've shared. It's essential to understand that the value of our lives isn't contingent upon whether others recognize our contributions. The power to feel worthy is ours to embrace, and we must cherish that. By stepping away from the need for recognition, we create space to concentrate on what truly brings us joy. What do we value most at this stage of life? Is it the peace that comes from spending time with loved ones? Is it the simple pleasure of pursuing hobbies that ignite our passion? When we disentangle our sense of worth from the need for recognition, we free ourselves to seek these meaningful experiences. We cultivate deeper, more fulfilling relationships and connections. Because we are no longer waiting for approval from anyone but ourselves, make this shift in mindset. The external validation we once crave begins to lose its significance. We start to comprehend that the praise or thanks we sought after is far less important than the inner tranquility we cultivate We no longer need others to validate our actions. We learn to acknowledge and appreciate our own contributions. As we embrace this perspective, we gain the courage to live life on our own terms. We learn to celebrate our journey, recognizing that each step we've taken has contributed to the person we've become. Every sacrifice, every act of kindness, and every moment spent in service to others shapes our identity. This realization brings about a profound sense of liberation, allowing us to live authentically without being tethered to the opinions of others. Take this fourth tough piece to heart. We are valuable not because of what others say about us, but because we have lived a life rich in meaning, kindness, and love. Our actions driven by compassion and selflessness are what define us. This truth should empower us, instilling in us a sense of pride that is unshakable. Ultimately, it is essential to remember that our worth is inherent, deeply woven into the fabric of our being as we grow older. Let us cherish the legacy we have created, one filled with love, generosity, and selflessness. Let us embrace the beauty of our journey, celebrating not just the milestones, but also the quiet moments that have shaped our lives. This is our story, and it is a story worth telling, a story that stands resilient against the winds of time, echoing with the richness of experiences that only we can share. One of the most transformative truths can be difficult to hear. Stop using your age as an excuse not to change. This can be a harsh reality for many to accept, as people often tell themselves, "I'm too old for that." Whether it's learning something new, breaking harmful habits, or allowing ourselves to find happiness in different ways, age is often used as a barrier. But the reality is, as long as we're alive, there's always time for change. Many people believe that after a certain age, there's no longer room for deep, meaningful transformations. But that belief is a dangerous myth that traps us in a mindset of resignation rather than renewal. With age comes wisdom, perspective, and a deeper understanding of what truly matters in life. Each wrinkle, each grey hair carries stories of our experiences, lessons learned, and challenges overcome. These are not marks of decay, but badges of honor that show we have navigated the complexities of life. It's essential to embrace this wisdom and recognize that it can be a powerful tool for personal growth. Think about it. Our life experiences provide us with insights that can guide us through new endeavors and challenges. This wisdom, combined with a willingness to adapt and change, can lead to remarkable transformations. Even in the later stages of life, consider the opportunities you may have missed because you believed it was too late. Perhaps you've thought about picking up a new hobby, starting a business, or even traveling to a destination you've always dreamed of visiting. The real tragedy lies not in the passage of time, but in the self-imposed limitations we place on ourselves. Due to age, it's easy to fall into a routine, to feel comfortable in the familiar. But comfort can sometimes become a cage. Each day presents us with choices, and it's vital to challenge the belief that we cannot venture into uncharted territory. Simply because of our age can be a powerful advantage. It grants us the perspective that only time can offer. Think about how many times we have experienced setbacks or failures, and how those experiences have equipped us with resilience. This resilience is often stronger in older adults, allowing us to take risks and embrace change with a sense of courage that can be lacking in youth. It's not about being too old. It's about realizing that we can change at any point in our lives. Embracing this truth can open doors to opportunities we never thought possible. The key lies in viewing age as a launching platform for new possibilities rather than a roadblock. Every year brings new advancements, insights, and avenues for exploration. We live in an era where information is abundant and accessible. There are countless resources available to learn new skills, connect with others, and pursue passions that may have lain dormant for years. Technology, too, has made the world more interconnected, allowing us to find communities that share our interests and aspirations. So why not take advantage of these tools? Why not challenge ourselves to grow and learn in ways we never imagined, in recognizing that change is possible at any age? We must also confront the fears and doubts that can hold us back. It's normal to feel apprehensive about trying something new or stepping outside our comfort zones. However, we must remind ourselves that every great journey begins with a single step. We all have fears, but allowing those fears to dictate our lives means surrendering our potential. It's essential to acknowledge our feelings, but not let them hinder our growth. Instead, let's cultivate an environment of encouragement, both for ourselves and for those around us, surrounding ourselves with supportive and positive influences. This can make a significant difference in our journey toward change. Engaging with others who inspire us or who have successfully embraced change can offer motivation and validation. It's easy to feel isolated in our struggles, but we must actively seek connections that uplift us, whether it's joining a group that shares our interests or reaching out to friends and family. These connections can provide the encouragement we need to pursue new paths. Another important lesson is not to cling to the past as if it's your only refuge. Nostalgia, in moderation, can serve as a comforting balm for our souls, reminding us of cherished moments and joyful experience. However, when we find ourselves dwelling more in yesterday than in today, we risk becoming trapped in a prison of our own memories. Yes, those memories hold immense value, but they should not dictate how we navigate our lives in the present. If we invest too much energy in looking backward and lamenting what has transpired, we miss the vibrant life unfolding before us. It's essential to honor our past, but we mustn't allow it to restrict our present. Instead, let's fully embrace the here and now, for that is where life continues to reveal its wonders. When we learn to focus on the present moment, we uncover the myriad possibilities that await us. We should also recognize the incredible strength of resilience within ourselves. Throughout our lives, each of us has encountered challenges, setbacks, and moments of hardship. It is through these experiences that we forge our inner strength and adaptability. Resilience is not merely about bouncing back from adversity, it's about growing and evolving as individuals as we journey through life. We can choose to view our struggles as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable barriers. This transformation in perspective enables us to confront our fears and uncertainties with courage and confidence. Embracing resilience allows us to understand that while life may not always follow our desire path, every challenge brings with it a lesson, enriching our journey with wisdom and insight. In addition to resilience, let's emphasize the importance of connection with others. As inherently social beings, we flourish in environments filled with nurturing relationships that expand our horizons. Actively engaging with friends, family, and even new acquaintances can breathe fresh energy into our lives. Sharing our stories, thoughts, and experiences not only strengthens our bonds, but also fosters a profound sense of belonging and understanding. In this increasingly interconnected world, we must not underestimate the power of community, whether through shared interests, collaborative efforts, or simply providing a listening ear. These connections enhance our existence in ways that are immeasurable. It is through these meaningful relationships that we can discover support during challenging times and find joy in our everyday experiences. Moreover, let us embrace the inevitability of change in our lives. Change is a fundamental aspect of the human experience, and resisting it often leads to stagnation and frustration. Instead, we can approach change with open hearts and inquisitive minds. Each new chapter we encounter brings opportunities for growth and self-discovery. By adapting to shifting circumstances, we can redefine our goals and aspirations based on our evolving selves. This willingness to embrace change fosters a sense of adventure, allowing us to explore paths and possibilities we might never have considered. Let us remind ourselves that the journey is just as significant as the destination, shaping who we become along the way. As we navigate these complexities, it's essential to prioritize self-compassion. Too often, we can be our own harshest critics, berating ourselves for perceived shortcomings or failures. Practicing self-compassion encourages us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a close friend. It allows us to acknowledge our feelings without judgment and accept our imperfections as part of the rich tapestry of life. By cultivating self-compassion, we create a nurturing space for growth and healing, enabling us to move forward with purpose and self-acceptance. Remember, it's perfectly fine to be imperfect. We are all on a continuous journey of learning and self-discovery in our quest for meaning. Let's also consider the role of gratitude. Cultivating an attitude of thankfulness shifts our focus from what we lack to the abundance we already possess. It encourages us to appreciate the small joys in our lives: the warmth of the sun, the laughter of a friend, or the comfort of a favored book. When we practice gratitude, we enhance our well-being and foster a deeper connection with the world around us. Gratitude opens our hearts and minds to the beauty and richness of life, reminding us that even in difficult times there is always something to be thankful for. Let's take a moment to reflect on the many blessings we hold and share that gratitude with others, creating a ripple effect of positivity in our lives. To conclude, let's delve into a topic that often remains unspoken: the implications of daily masturbation. It's a nuanced subject, and we recognize that discussing it may evoke a range of emotions. The reality is that when approached with moderation, masturbation can be a natural and healthy expression of human sexuality. However, it's essential to consider what it means when this behavior becomes a daily or compulsive practice. Could it be a signal of deeper emotional challenges that deserve our attention? Are we using it to mask feelings of loneliness or dissatisfaction? Compulsive behaviors can create a temporary escape from emotional distress, but often lead to increased feelings of isolation and disconnection. We must reflect on how these patterns impact our overall well-being. When we lean too heavily on one source of comfort, we risk neglecting the myriad of experiences that life has to offer. Repetitive behavior can prevent us from forming meaningful connections with ourselves and others, resulting in a superficial existence that leaves our emotional needs unfulfilled. Balance is vital in every facet of our lives, including our sexual health. By consciously choosing to moderate the frequency of masturbation, we open ourselves to new avenues of pleasure and well-being. This shift encourages us to seek fulfillment through diverse activities that enrich our lives. For example, engaging in leisurely walks, diving into captivating books, exploring hobbies, or nurturing relationships with friends and family can cultivate lasting joy and satisfaction. These experiences help us reconnect with the world, nourishing our emotional and physical well-being without the negative consequences of compulsive habits. Importantly, we do not advocate for the complete elimination of masturbation. Instead, we aim to ensure that it remains a healthy and integrated part of a balanced lifestyle. By doing so, we create space for more meaningful sources of happiness and connection to flourish. This approach allows us to embrace our sexuality, while also recognizing the significance of exploring other dimensions of our well-being. It's about achieving harmony across different aspects of our lives, ensuring that no single behavior overshadows the multitude of joys life has to offer. As we mature, achieving this balance becomes even more critical. We must thoughtfully manage the interplay between our physical, emotional, and social needs. Our desires evolve in maintaining an open dialogue with ourselves. About these changes is essential moderation in all aspects of life, including sexual habits, leads to a more intentional and fulfilling existence by reducing the frequency of masturbation. We can redirect energy and focus toward cultivating deeper relationships and exploring new interests. This shift fosters a sense of purpose and fulfillment that transcends mere temporary relief. Moreover, engaging in open discussions with trusted individuals about our experiences and feelings can be immensely beneficial. Creating a support network allows us to share insights, seek guidance, and learn from one another by addressing these topics collectively. We foster a sense of community and understanding, empowering us to navigate our emotional landscapes more effectively. Let's remember that we are not alone in our experiences. Sharing our stories can help normalize and demystify these vital aspects of life. Navigating the complexities of our sexual health, including masturbation frequency, is crucial to our overall well-being. By embracing this journey, we invite richer, more fulfilling experiences and deeper connections into our lives. We encourage you to explore this topic with curiosity and compassion, taking the necessary steps to ensure that your sexual health is just one facet of a vibrant and enriched life. Together, we can forge a path toward a more intentional, joyful existence, where every aspect of our being is nourished and celebrated. As we draw this insightful discussion to a close, take a moment to reflect on the transformative lessons we've shared, from prioritizing your emotional well-being and letting go of the need for external validation to embracing change. No matter your age, and striving for balance in every aspect of your life, these principles are designed to empower you on your journey. Life is a beautiful tapestry woven with growth, change, and balance. By applying these lessons, you're not just surviving, you're paving the way for a more enriching and fulfilling experience. Now I invite you to ask yourself, what resonated with you the most today? What action will you take to integrate these insights into your life? Starting now, remember, real change starts with action. As you move forward, hold this thought close. You have the strength to craft a life filled with purpose and joy. No matter your age or circumstances, embrace your journey. Take bold steps and believe in the beautiful possibilities that await you. Thank you for being part of this conversation. And remember, every step forward is a step toward the vibrant life you deserve.